Hello, I'm Liam Dann, New Zealand Herald Business Editor at Large, and welcome to Money Talks. This is a podcast about money, but we're not going to tell you how to get rich, and we're not going to try and pick the next interest rate move. In this series, I talk to interesting New Zealanders about how money has shaped their lives and what they've learned about it over the years. For today's podcast, I'm joined by a multi-talented entertainer, winner of the Fred Award and the Top Prize, who is currently touring around New Zealand with his show, Stop Being So Dramatic. I'm talking about Chris Parker. Kia ora, Chris. Welcome to Money Talks.
I'm so excited to be on a podcast I know my dad's going to listen to.
Oh, right. Yeah, good. Yeah.
That's not to say your audience is entirely dads, but that is to say my dad is my accountant, and so he's got invested interest in this.
Are you nervous that you're going to...
Why be nervous? He literally looks into my accounts. He knows every cent that I'm spending.
Okay,
I know
that's
good.
Time. Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, first up, how's the tour been? You've just been around Australia, is that right?
Yeah. So I perform now in the sort of starts. This is probably the fifth year I've done this cycle. I start in Adelaide, and then I sort of work the show up, and then I do sort of tour Australia, and it's my first time I did Perth. So now I do, so boring, but Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, and then I come in and I do 10 centres around New Zealand. So the idea was like I'd sort of work the show up in Australia because I'd be performing for bigger people, like bigger houses over here.
Yep, because they don't know you so well. But
exactly.
But they'll be starting to get to know you,
They are starting to catch on. So the pressure now it's like work the show out in Adelaide, and then it should definitely be ready for Melbourne because you're performing for a lot of people in Melbourne. Yeah. And then, it'll be and it's like worn in by New Zealand.
Are the cities all different though? Do they all, or does it translate pretty much across Australasia?
Yeah, I feel like I've performed now across the entire country and a lot of Australia. And I just find audiences are audiences no matter where you are. Like it's so much of like, it's like just talking to anyone across the dinner table. It's like, you're not like, I'm talking to an Australian across the dinner table. It's like you're just talking to another person. And so I find the job of the comedian is to connect and relate to who you're talking to. And it doesn't
really matter once you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're happier in Melbourne.
Yeah. All right. How would you explain what you do to a child?
Well, how would I explain it to my nieces and nephews? It's funny, because kids, similar to like customs, people who work at like the airport at customs, like they sort of treat you all equally. Like they're not like, ooh, when they find out you're a comedian, they're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. So when you say you're a comedian to kids, they're like, oh, like they don't sort of think it's...
You tell jokes. Well, they
don't understand maybe what it is. And it's kind of interesting because if I was on like Bluey, maybe then I would have been interested. Like I'd be a star to them. But I'm like on my phone making content, and they're like, "Well, that's just like when you call mum over FaceTime. Like it's not interesting to them."
Yeah, you talk for a living. I think that's
true.
Yeah. Into some money stuff.
Please, let's get into the nitty gritty.
What sort of money personality are you? So I'm thinking spender, saver.
I'm definitely a spender. I've noticed that like a lot of people will message me and say like, should I buy this?
Right.
Because they know I'm going to be like...
You're going to say yes.
Yes. So in that sense, I'm a spender. My husband is like quite, we have like, we grew up really like differently economically. Like I'm from quite a privileged upbringing. My dad worked really hard. We had a very like, we got to do whatever we wanted as kids.
Right. So you see your dad, your accountant.
Yes.
And he's like, literally as an accountant, right?
Yeah. He worked at Tate Electronics, the radio communications company in Christchurch. He worked there for years. Like he worked there for like 40 years or something. So like he's been such a hard grafter. But yeah, we just got anything we wanted as a child. And so I'd often throw money at problems. My husband, he's more like, let's just think about it, and let's say we're buying a couch. We had the worst couch forever until we bought the most expensive couch possible. And it's like he just doesn't want to spend money on like the middle thing, the thing that's going to break in a couple of years and then you're going to replace. So he'd rather wait.
I'm like, do the research.
Buy it now and then, oh no, this couch is terrible, and learn a hard lesson. Whereas he's like, we'll wait until we find the right couch, and then we'll spend more than you'd ever possibly think on that, because we like to overthink these things. And then, so I'm a spender, but a conscientious spender.
Spender. Oh, that's great.
How ridiculous.
All right.
I'm already like gagging listening to this, like this repulsive.
Yeah, you mentioned growing up in a reasonably privileged background. And what are your first memories of money in your life as a child and growing up?
I think this is the indicator where you know you're privileged or not. There is no memory of money.
Right, yeah.
So there is no conversation of like, or you feel no pressure of that things are tough because your parents aren't letting you know about that. And so there may have been, I'm sure, mum and dad have revealed it to me now that there were moments where they thought, oh my goodness, like this is tough. But we were never aware of that. And so we always felt safe. We always, had a roof over our head, like we were fine, And so I think my memory of money is that we didn't have to worry about it. But then there would be pocket money.
Yeah.
So like working hard for 50 cents.
Yep. And what did you do with that? You were down.
I'll tell you what, actually, the first major cash I came into was I was a child star. I did a milk ad, Metafresh and Taurua Milk. I'm sure it's all just like one company now.
Right, yeah.
I think it's all Metafresh, right? But it was, and I was the rugby school's ambassador. Really weirdly miscast. I got to meet all the Super 12 rugby players. My brother was so jealous. I got paid $50 a word. So I got paid $450. And my parents were like, well, that's your money, so you can do with it what you want, but we would save it if we were you, but do whatever you want. And I bought a mountain bike. It got stolen the very next day.
Because you're in Christchurch.
Garage door open, someone went in, stole the bike. And you'd think, replace the bike. Yeah. It's a hard lesson. Mum and dad were like, no, it got stolen. That's just
wow.
They're not buying your bike. Like that's just life,
Oh, that's tough. Yeah.
I think I got a bike in the end, but I remember being like, yeah, that's fair.
I mentioned Christchurch because I've had about 5. I'm from Christchurch, and boy, they steal bikes in Christchurch.
They steal bikes everywhere. I mean, I just got a new bike.
Even a bar called the Bicycle Thief.
When I just saw like a bike out on the street here, like it'd been picked like a rotisserie chicken. Like there was just the carcass left. Like they're taking everything.
Is that right that you were the third of 4 children?
Correct.
Yeah. And how was that in the family dynamic? Did you sort of feel like
I think I was supposed to be the kind of like exclamation mark into that chapter.
Right.
And then my younger sister was born 6 years after me and was like, ... ellipses. But wait, there's more. I think that probably changed things for my parents. I remember dad being like, it was the most expensive decision we've ever made.
Yeah.
It was like suddenly a new house, a new car, like the family it was 4 kids.
Nothing's designed for 4 kids. Right?
No, it was 6 of us. We're a small sports team, except none of us have any ball skills. Apart from my older brother. We're like we're the Von Trapps or the Swiss Family Robinsons. Like it's a huge operation to run us around.
Yeah.
And we all have vastly different interests, which is a nightmare for my parents.
Yeah.
My sister and I at the youngies, we're both creative, lives as an actor and a comedian. She did a show on the Comedy Festival. And my older brother is like sport crazy and he's in education. And then my older sister's a radiation therapist. So she's in health and honestly science. I'm like, I don't fully understand. It's like zapping people with lasers and helping them out. And so, it was a lot. They were driving. It was just like afternoons were just spent in the car, like just driving around being like, I've got to pick your brother up from rugby. You stay in the car because I've got to drop you off at ballet at 5.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of that.
Chaos.
Yeah, chaos, but like beautiful chaos. We're pretty lucky.
Growing up in Christchurch, 1990s, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Strong memories of the vibe of the city pre-quake and all that?
Yeah, it was just like, I remember it was just great. Like, it was just running around. I went to Boys High, which was kind of interesting, but Elmwood Normal School was my primary school. And I just felt, the city was like, you just run into Ballantyne's and
yeah. It was
running down Cashel Street Mall. And
there's still a lot of weird characters around. I mean, I grew up in more the 80s, I suppose, but there was weirdos in the square, celebrated weirdos. You only had to sort of sit there for a while and the seagulls sat on your head and you became a character.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's the odd character. I think they're sort of famous wherever you are. And there's one in every sort of city.
Yeah.
And then you move. We live in the city now, so we're like, they're our community.
And you kind of, answered the question about, pocket money or first part-time job. I mean, so were you getting into acting and sort of modelling and all that sort of stuff that you can do as a kid?
Thank you very much.
I say
appreciate it.
Well, I mean, my son did a bit of that and he got in a Posty Plus ad or something and got 500
I actually did an HBK Kids runway, but I didn't get paid for that. My first kind of like job beyond ad was, I always knew I wanted to act for a living, but there was a newsletter there was like a notice in the school notices asking for a boy to sweep leaves outside the CBS Bank on Riccarton Road, which is like a job you'd give like Oliver Twist. Like it was like Dickensian. But I was committed to it. I got paid $10 cash a week to sweep the leaves outside the bank, while my dad sat in the car and watched me and would be like, put your back into it. Like, I'm painting a really unfair picture of him. He's great, but he was watching me sweep. And then I'd save that $10, have $40 over the month, and spend that $40 on alcohol that my parents didn't know about, but that was teenagehood.
Yeah.
And then just like for the one party I'd get invited to every 6 months. And then after that, as a teenager, I worked at a bar. My parents got me my first job.
Oh, yeah.
At Aikman's, infamous Christchurch bar. And I was a glassy when I was 17.
Right, just like collecting them and washing
glasses. And then got into wanting to like work behind the taps and run. I feel like everyone should work hospo. Like it should be like conscription.
Yeah.
Because you grow respect for people who work in the hospitality industry, and you can always clock when someone hasn't worked hospo, and they just like the way they click their fingers at waiters. I'm like, like it should be. I don't think it should be conscription. An army of trained baristas.
Yeah, well, it almost is by the way we organise our society. Like.
Totally. And that was really good for me. And I was saving with a clear goal in mind, which is that I had been accepted into Toi Whakaari, the drama school in Wellington. So I was moving to Wellington, and the same rule for my brother and my sister. Like my parents didn't pay for us to go through. Like I think kind of once we left home, it was like we're on our own a little bit. Like we've got their support, but not necessarily financial support unless you were in a tough spot. In which case you could call them.
And were they supportive? I mean, at school, did you have a sort of a plan B thing where you're keeping up with the maths or something like that, or was it just always going to be, drama, theatre?
It was always going to be drama and theatre. My history teacher was like at parent-teacher interviews. Mr. Dacre, legend, talked to my parents and said, look, he's never here.
Yeah.
He's always in the music department, like hanging out. He's bunking a lot, but I think it's going to be fine. I think this is what he wants to do.
So it's the case that the good teacher that kind of recognises.
They all did it at school. And I just spent hours and hours and hours just like invested in it. And all my time outside of school was doing drama and acting. It's the only thing it's been the only thing I've ever wanted to do.
So was that, there was that theatre sports thing in Christchurch at Sport Theatre?
We won the cup at high school. And the plan was like, I would love to be a court jester. I would love to like act in plays in Christchurch. And no one had really like done the Toi Whakaari thing, like the leap to drama school, and it felt really like a dream. And I've never wanted anything more in my life. I was desperate for it, and audition felt sick. I remember the letter, and it kind of changed my life. And then it sort of like changed the trajectory of what I thought I was going to be doing. Which is sort of like an opportunity greater than your dreams. Presents itself and sort of pulls you out of the path I think you thought you'd set for yourself. So suddenly I was in Wellington, had done like no research on Wellington. Before you knew it, I was wearing, cardigans and slouchy beanies and a weird necklace, and I sort of like got into that groove. And then from Wellington, it was like, well, I want like the best agent, and then I got the best agent. And so then I was like, I'm moving to Auckland, and I hadn't, that was never the dream when I was living in Christchurch.
It just opened up.
And then you just sort of, the appetite gets bigger and you might not be prepared for it, but you sort of pulled through.
Yeah. Did you, I mean, the comedy drama thing, did you, going, I'm going to be a serious actor, and then discover that you were quite funny, or was it,
Totally.
Comedy the dream, or?
I think acting and like making it, I think this is the thing I always question, because I got into it through drama, like through theatre and like kind of serious roles, but it was never actually about wanting to be, John Proctor in The Crucible or in a Chekhov. It was actually just about being a part of something, creating a world. And so it's always been about being creative.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I knew I was funny. And I think it's not as regarded as like kind of dramatic acting in that sense. So it was never the dream. And I was like, I want to be in like plays more than anything. And the dream is like I could work full time being in funny plays, but that's not possible. And I became incredibly restless out of drama school with how I was like, I don't want to wait on opportunities to get in front of an audience. I hate that these people have got the power over me that stop me from doing the thing I want to do, which is entertaining people.
And stand up, you've got complete control, right? You can create your own world, your own show.
And it's accessible.
Yeah.
So you can get in you can get a slot and you can get in front of a mic and you can just start with comedy. Like, it's sort of ramshackle, and the immediacy of it meant it was so easy to get involved. And then I was like hooked on comedy, and I was like, well, yeah, I was hooked on comedy, and I was like, well, I just want to stay at this world because there's so many opportunities for me here, and really I just want to be in front of people and performing.
Yeah. There's a lot of comedians at the moment who've emerged from Christchurch. As examples, Guy Montgomery, Eli Mathewson, Brinley Stent. I would have put like David McPhail and John Gadsby. AK Grant, they're right. But is it?
I won the David McPhail Cup at Boys High for acting, and I served John Gadsby a lot at the Aikmans, which was quite nice. Yes, I mean, Justine Smith, there's so many great...
Is Christchurch... I mean...
Carl Wilson, the great... late Carl Wilson was a contemporary.
I mean, there is something weird about, again, I can say this because I'm from Christchurch.
Yeah.
Alternative music and things. Christchurch has this perception of being conservative and straight, but then you have to kind of push back against it, don't you? So there's
it's like any generalization, isn't it? Like, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, someone actually asked me earlier today, like, why are New Zealand comedians doing so well in Australia now? And I think because there's a hunger to be where the opportunity is. And I felt like the talent in Christchurch was like we were reaching a kind of like lid of wanting more opportunity, and we kind of felt like there was only a certain amount of opportunities for us in that city, and also, the jesters were full.
Yeah,
and
as you say, that progression, Wellington, Auckland, and then you're looking at Australia.
So then I think a lot of us tried to do the drama school leap and move up to Auckland, and I think because we were so excited to move to a new city, the hunger to make the most out of that opportunity was there, that we really worked our butts off for it. And I think that's...
Well, I mean, has been a really good scene in New Zealand, and I guess it makes sense that it's spilled over into Australia with some success stories, right? There's been a strong wave of comedy through New Zealand in the last 10, 15 years.
I think New Zealanders realise the scale of Ursula Carlson, Guy Montgomery, that what they've actually pulled off in Australia. They are, beloved. And even on my small scale in Australia, because I'm sort of trying to follow that path, I'm performing for 139 people a night in Melbourne for a month. I don't think I could do that in Auckland. I think it would be really hard. And I think there's just more people there. But yeah, there seems to be this, Ursh is just like, she's so inspiring what she's accomplished, and she's like as funny as ever. Yeah. And she's performing like on the steps of the Sydney Opera House.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big one.
It's unbelievable. That's like a spot for Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
And there's Ursula Carlson doing that.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
They see her as theirs.
To jump back again, no plan B? So you never had a sense that if this doesn't work out, what's the day job going to be? Or was it, I guess it was working in the bar.
I think in a way, plan B has, like, I'm already kind of in plan B. I think like if you work in the arts in this country, plan B becomes plan A as well as plan A. So you find multiple strings to the bow. Like, you cannot just do one thing. You have to have multiple skills. So I was like, I want to be a performer. Yeah. But then I became a writer. And learnt to write and learnt to fall in love with writing and directing and show running and all these other parts of the industry that I didn't think I was going to do. That pulls
you into TV, reality TV.
Well, I was writing for Jono and Ben on their show, and I was, you do lots of different parts of the job.
I mean, is it a sense that in New Zealand you've got to say yes to everything that comes up, but grab every opportunity? Or
I don't know who told me that, like, Sir Ian McKellen said yes to every job, basically, because he didn't feel like he was above any job. And I'm sure that's not true. But I was like, yeah, there's something in that. Like, and I kind of think about, like, I remember seeing like the Top Twins perform at like an AMP show, and I was like, they're just like, not that that's a bad gig, but I'm sure they're used to performing like massive gigs. But I'm like, yeah, you never know like what a job could present, or would take you, and so it's good to be kind of open for everything.
On that, I introed you as multi-talented, and that was because really you've done a lot. You're writing plays and for TV, acting in theatre, TVs and movies. You've got a podcast, written a book, the reality TV, and of course stand-up. How do you motivate? What drives you to keep up that level of workload, I guess?
Well, if you're not I mean, basically, if you're not being seen on something, then you're not working. I always think about that for people in the arts, or people on TV. I'm like, if you're like, I haven't seen so-and-so in a while, it's like they're like looking for work.
Is there a worry that it's sort of can be fleeting if you...
Well, I think people worry about like overexposure or something, but I'm just like, if you want to work, like get out there and work. And I love being a part of projects. I love creating stuff. I love making stuff. And so I think that's part of the driver. And also... yeah, I don't think I'm really above, I try not to be above any gig. So like Celebrity Treasure Island was a great example. You know, it's like, that was a, it's like reality TV has a certain reputation in this country, and I wouldn't say it's glowing. And that show in particular was like finding its voice when I said yes to it. And people were like, are you sure? Like, and I was like, well, you never know like what this opportunity could present itself. I'm a bit nervous, but like, let's give it a go. And it was like single-handedly the game changer in my career in this country. It changed everything for me, presented me to like a broad audience in New Zealand, and it, by pure miracle, played during COVID, which meant that, everyone was locked inside and they were like sick of streaming. So they turned back to free to do television.
There was nothing new being made on
streaming. And so it was like 90s TV. And I was like, this is what it must have felt like to be like on Shortland Street in the heyday.
Yeah.
An episode would play and people would message you. And so I'm so glad I didn't think I was too high and mighty to do reality TV.
Or too intellectual or something, because it's quite,
totally.
It's quite, basic entertainment, isn't it? It's
100%. Yeah, it's like you're doing, hens do party games in Northland, like wiggling a biscuit around your face. But there is the opportunity to make that brilliant, and the team are brilliant who made that. And so we made brilliant TV, and it's like, oh my God, you just have to trust.
I mean, it's
creatives.
Not that different to Taskmaster, which has got a much more sort of reputation, but it's not that different, is it? I mean, you're out there doing silly games and...
Totally, yeah. They just want to see you cry on that show.
So because it's about money, I've got to ask on Celebrity Treasure Island, when you open that chest with all the money in it, do you feel incredibly rich for a moment?
I was just overwhelmed by the idea of like $100,000 going to a charity, and something like Rainbow Youth, which is so kind of grassroots. It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like, theatre. Like it's not. Yeah,
so it's actually a big deal for them. Yeah.
Like in TV, you sort of, this big money gets thrown around and you don't know where it gets absorbed. Whereas like in theatre, you're like, every cent goes on to like something that you see. And I sort of felt like Rainbow Youth as an organisation was similar. It was like they have a drop-in centre where like, young trans kids who are navigating a gender identity can come into a safe space and try on clothes that sort of reflect who they are in such a safe and supportive environment. And I'm like, well, that's the money's like going there. Like
so that money is going to be incredibly well received.
Yeah, exactly. And get used. And so like, that's all I could think about. And I also was like totally lost this show. Like I already knew the night before. I was like, I'm not going to win. So it just felt like completely overwhelming.
Yeah. So as you say, the career's growing organically in Australia. Does it create a sort of a sense of a pull that you need to head over there and be there?
100%. I feel like maybe it's not a very nice analogy, but I just do think about it a lot. It feels like working in this country sometimes, and I don't mean this with disdain. Like I love working here. I want to work here forever. Like I have any choice, I'd just stay here. But it feels like a candle a little bit that hasn't burnt wide enough. Yeah. So the deeper it goes, the longer it goes, eventually not enough oxygen gets in and it snuffs itself out. And I think what I'm learning is to continue working, continue doing what I love. That circle of the candle needs to grow wider. Yeah. And so that includes Australia and abroad, so that, you can burn for longer. Yeah. Because it's all about wanting to work forever, and I don't want to give up, Yeah.
Well, that is a much more, I would say, sophisticated and nuanced metaphor than the old tall poppy, which people always talk about. But
I honestly think tall poppy, I think it is real, but I also do think it could be a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, like the more we talk about it, the more it becomes real. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I feel like there's a generation of people that do believe in local talent, do want us to succeed.
Yeah.
We could be like that,
Yep.
but we're like, oh no, we're humble people and we have tall poppy syndrome, and we sort of like create this prophecy that continues. I'm like, also we gas up our friends and we're supportive of our own industry, and we create amazing talent who we are proud of.
Yeah. I mean, it is smaller.
I'm going to end tall poppy syndrome by just saying it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Why tall poppy syndrome doesn't exist. That's a good headline.
Uh-oh.
It is tough though, isn't it? I mean, it's a smaller industry. How would you describe sort of the industry at the moment? I mean, you don't have to tell us that the media's feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, like every interview you do, because I started working in the industry like maybe 10 years ago. It was probably my first sort of step into like big television studio vibes. And all I have felt is it truncate, like it's smaller and smaller and smaller, And
that linear TV.
And the people that we thought, oh, they're indestructible, like that gets scaled down, And so I feel a bit like vagabond about it. Like I feel a bit like, let's see what happens. Like, because I entered this industry in 2018, I think. No, way earlier than that. Oh my gosh. I graduated 2008, 2011. I graduated in 2011. I think when I came out of the industry, we're in the middle of a global financial crisis.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then we've gone through quite a few sort of like perilous economic points. And our job really reflects where we are as a society in terms of we're a nice to have. We've always been a nice to have going out. Yep. So if people don't have money, they're not coming to see us. Our industry collapses, and we're kind of riding that at the moment. But also what I didn't predict was happening was like the switch from legacy media to sort of like
social
YouTube
media.
And the fall of like advertising inside of it, how that would affect my job, and it has, and then we're going to see the introduction of AI and all that sort of stuff, and it's all just like, it's really, the threat is real, but it also like what it has really made clear to me is the value of live.
Yeah.
AI can, like, I'm sure it will, but like AI feels like it's got no place in live.
Yeah.
And the more that people feel uncertain about what is real,
the more they want to
gravitate towards something that they can feel grounded inside of, an experience that they know is living in front of them.
And it's a very human experience on stage, stand-up comedy.
Truly.
Yeah.
And so you will never have a better entertainment experience than a live experience. I truly believe that. And I just hope people have eventually a bit more money to be able to go and enjoy it.
Well, I think that cycle will turn. You've got these big structural problems with the media and all that, but the technology, but the economy will turn. So
when I started working, it was like, I was having meetings with NZME 10 years ago about Watch Me, platform that never really happened. And I had those conversations everywhere, like about, we're setting up a new streaming service. I was one of the first shows on TVNZ on demand.
Yep.
When that was called, I can't remember, it was On Demand or whatever.
And there's all these experiments. They're just trying to work it out.
Tom and I's web series, Stakeout, for, I think they bought it for $500, which, we got absolutely hoodwinked there. And it's gone now off the website. But, it's like, it was before they kind of worked out the streaming thing, but we could already see the dip. And so in a way, I sort of feel a bit like annoyed that I felt like I could have just been working now young and relevant when it was all digitized. But I sort of have weathered this.
You're a bit in between.
I didn't get the glory days of legacy media.
Yeah, and nowadays the kids are going straight online themselves, right?
Yeah, and I'd be like a YouTuber now or something. But I was kind of in the middle. But I like navigating it.
Yeah.
And that's what got me on Instagram and creating content. And I won't say no to it.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunity, and there's lots of opportunity to find a niche as well, isn't it? To find your audience. There are upsides, is what I'm trying to say. It's not all doom and gloom.
Oh my gosh, it's so accessible to like no offense to this beautiful podcast studio, but like it would only take me a little while to research what you've got here and be able to buy the equipment and set it up in my apartment or whatever. Like it's quite easy to compete with these really big
and people do
tech, media giants, and it's like, and they do exactly. It's become really like interesting. It's made everyone work harder or more creatively.
All right, we'll get into some quick-fire money questions, shall we?
Oh, how much money do you have?
What's the poorest you've ever been?
Oh, actually, I've got a screenshot of my bank balance on my first date with my husband, and I was like, I can't buy him a drink because I don't have enough money. I had $7 in my bank account and nothing in savings.
It's a good way to start a relationship, though. No expectation.
I mean, I've been on wins.
Yeah.
I've been, so I was pretty broke then too.
Yeah.
But again, had parents like if I needed to fall back on.
As a backstop.
But I was like, I want to commit to this acting thing, probably against their advice that it's easy going. So I should probably like go about this the right way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take accountability for it myself.
When you got a bit of money together, what's the most indulgent purchase you've ever made?
Oh, God. Like an apartment in Auckland City. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's pretty indulgent.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a homeowner. That's a lot of debt, but it's a purchase.
Yep. No, that's a good thing though. It's not. I mean, at least it's not like something that's going to run out or you're going to regret.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
for sure. Like we worked hard for it.
Yeah. Do you imagine winning lotto? Do you buy tickets? And if so, how much do you imagine winning?
Sometimes I imagine, coming into a lot of money, but I've never bought a lotto ticket.
Right. So you just imagine it for free, basically.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't imagine being stupidly rich? But then I was like, because I would never work again. Yeah. But I was like, I don't know how I would feel about that.
Well, that's why sometimes
when I'm not working, I feel sick.
Yeah. The question, so like sometimes, if I imagine, I think I'll only imagine winning $800,000 because I don't want to imagine winning 20 million because that would just ruin my life, right? So just imagine enough to cover your mortgage and
Yeah, exactly.
And if you did win, what's the first thing you'd treat yourself to?
Well, it's probably sick to think, but I would make sure that all my family got something. Like I'd buy, make sure the family have all
sorted
something that they need and then put the rest in. Yep. I think honestly, like the boring answer, which I always hate when you do these hypotheticals and someone has like a really like rational answer to it because you're like, well, that's not why we're asking. But I would invest that money into like become a trust so that the money could like
keep giving. Yeah,
keep growing and keep doing good stuff.
Well, that sounds like you have thought about finances and money a little bit.
I guess so. Yeah. It's like, isn't it ridiculous to be like, if I had money and I won it in lotto, I would put it in a trust. It's like, get off your high horse. You haven't won.
Yeah. But one day you might have money and you might do all these things.
I'm not buying lotto tickets.
Yeah. But, have you had good financial advice? You mentioned your father was like a financial guy.
Dad's amazing.
What's the best financial advice you've ever received?
I don't know if it's advice as much as just like constant guidance. I mean, it's a pretty weird industry financially. And Dad's been like, he's really like, because I think he used to work for IRD. Like he kind of understands money in a very more like kind of traditional sense rather than these sort of waves of money that you get in the entertainment industry. But he was like, he really sort of helped me create a nest, is that like a nest egg or whatever, like a pool of money that I couldn't touch.
Yep. Which if you had a salary in an ordinary job, you'd be doing KiwiSaver. It's actually quite helpful in your industry to have someone who can.
So now the rule is lump it in half.
Right.
So I get paid for anything, I lump it in half. It goes into an account I can't touch.
Yeah.
That gets taken, GST, tax, all that boring stuff, agent fees.
Yep.
If you lump it in half, it's annoying.
Yeah. But once you get used to it.
You feel like you're being robbed.
Yeah.
But then you talk about, bloody government, whatever. And you're like, I actually should pay my taxes then.
Yeah. Well, it's a trap.
It's funny when you're like your young liberal friends are like, boo, boo, and then suddenly, they've become a landlord. And you think, that happened quick, didn't it?
Yeah. If you could go back in time, what's one thing you'd change about your career or your money habits?
I would work in the 90s. I would be a celebrity in the 90s.
When you could get on TV and that's it.
I'd buy a house in 2010. I would, there's so many things I would change. I'd be born earlier.
Yeah. The last couple of biggish questions. Is making money a driver for you? Is it important or is it a byproduct of success?
I think I like having money. I like buying nice things. I like that money creates, it's sad, but money creates opportunities.
Yeah.
It doesn't enrich your life, but it does like take it in places that, you maybe didn't necessarily like.
Gives you some freedom.
It does. So in that sense, money is a driver.
Yep.
But also there are other ways to make money.
Yeah.
And I'm not going that way. So I think it's an interesting thing where I'm like, well, if I look at the evidence of what I am doing, I probably haven't made the smartest decisions if I was just trying to make money fast.
But having decided to go this way, it doesn't hurt to
so
make a living.
It's a balance. But there are jobs I've definitely turned down which would have been fine money, but it would have not necessarily aligned with my values.
I mean, there must be a lot of commercial work that you could do that you're going, does that...
I could be an influencer.
Yeah.
Like I could just be hawking products.
Yeah, you could be a
brand
ambassador or something.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
That.
Yeah. And not that I have said no to... I've said yes to many opportunities.
If it's the right product and all that.
It's about like how much I do. And I think if it was money that I was really focused on, then I'd just keep saying yes. And I also feel like I need a product. I think about how like I'm jealous of like Lee Hart's chips. Like, God, I need like
you need a vodka
line of sauces or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, maybe that's next.
I do. That's kind of my question. Like, what was your like celebrity product line? I always ask my friends that to see what they'd make.
Last question is our big political question. It's if we could make you Prime Minister for a day or dictator of New Zealand, what is something like that? What would be the number one thing you'd want to do to try and improve things? And, normally I'm asking business leaders and politicians how they'd try and solve equity and economic inequality and that sort of things. But, it could be around the entertainment sector or...
Definitely capital gains.
Yep.
And tax our wealthier more.
And where's the money going to go? You're going to...
just more, I think... like this idea that, I think cutting down on benefits as hard as people are at the moment because people, are being lazy or whatever. I think that's ridiculous. I think there's people want them. You have to believe that people want opportunity and want to work and want to get out there, but there are things that get in the way of that happening. And if you've lived a life of privilege like I have, then of course you're like, well, I don't understand it. I don't relate to it. But it's like it's like it just shows a sort of sense of disconnect of of someone's experience of this world. And there are people in this life that like in this world that opportunity doesn't present itself to them because there are other stuff in the way. There are obligations or there is hardship. And I feel like there should be space for support and there should be money for support to help empower people to get their life going in the direction that they want and support. And it should come with less conditions.
Yeah. Great answer.
Oh, I don't know. That's honestly, hear me out now. Camera on me. I'm not a politician. And these are silly opinions and they're not...
I don't know.
They haven't been researched or anything and I don't truly know the answers. I'm an idiot. But that's just how I feel sometimes.
Well, there's a lot of people who agree with you about the tax. So.
Capital gains for sure. Capital gains for sure. And it should have happened.
They have one in Australia, right? So you might pop that over there one day.
True. You wait though. I'll end up becoming like a land baron and I'll be like, well, it can turn overnight. You never know. I might win Lotto and then I'll be like,
no more tax.
No more tax, no more benefits. Yeah. More roads.
And finally, where can we see the show?
Oh, yeah, great. You can support my financial endeavors and keep me in work by booking a ticket to my show, Stop Being So Dramatic. It's my 2025 tour. It's a brand new show. So if you saw me last year, it's a whole new hour. And I understand parking's expensive, but please, I think you'll really enjoy it, especially with all this AI. You can go to chrisparkercomedy.com or the link in my Instagram bio, or if you Google it, I'm sure you'll find it. You're smart people.
Good stuff. All right, Chris Parker, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers. It's fun to talk. Thank you for listening to this episode of Money Talks. If you want to get in touch, drop me a line at liam.dan@nzme.co.nz. And you can read more from me at nzherald.co.nz. Thanks to my producer, Ethan Sills, and sound engineer, Adam Pamana. Follow Money Talks on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts, with new episodes available every Thursday. And if you are new to the podcast, you can check out our back catalogue with over 60 guests from across our seasons.